Good morning. Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, guys. Today is Tuesday, January 17th, 2023, and we are continuing on our walk to liberty. And this morning, I want to speak about something that came to my mind this morning as I'm preparing my day, as I'm praying, as I'm petitioning to God, things that I need to work on in my life specifically for the journey that He's put in front of me, for the vision that He's given me. And I want to share this with you this morning. And I'm going to be as transparent as I can without overstepping any boundaries with others, okay? So I want to talk about the journey, life's journey, our journey in life. From conception to death, we are all going to go on a journey in life. And as much as we want to plan and predict and be strategic in our efforts to be profitable, to be successful, to be healthy, to be loved, to be mindful, life is very, very unpredictable. And the best plan is going to have some hiccups in it. The best plan is going to require us to reevaluate, to reassess, for all my project management people to be agile, to apply some Scrum principles to it so we know exactly the direction that we need to go. Maybe we need to do a few sprints and just reevaluate, is the plan effective? Do we need to reconsider some of the things we initially thought about when we initially engaged it. We have to be strategic. We have to be intentional. We have to be smart and make intelligent decisions on this road to life. Okay. On this road, walking through life. So this morning, I think about footprints. I think about journey. That's what came to my mind. My journey, my journey, my journey. And I said, what is a journey? So I had to look it up because I'm inquisitive. I want to know. I wanted the Webster definition of journey. And journey is an act of traveling from one place to another. I could go a little bit further and say journey is the act of traveling from one season to another, from one relationship to another, from one employer to another, from one contract to another, one profession to another, one degree to another. It's a journey. It's movement. It's traveling from one to another, from to and fro. When I think of journey, immediately what comes to mind for me is the poem Footprints in the Sand. And you can look it up and I'm going to post it. But pretty much it talks about a gentleman who is speaking to God. And when he looked in his life, so picture you're walking on a beach and you see two sets of footprints. And in the poem, he pretty much says, I always saw the two steps of footprints. But when I got to my struggles, when I got to my adversity, in times of sickness, in times of pain, in times of divorce, in times of abuse, in times of trauma, I only saw one set of footsteps. And in the poem, the guy says that it made him angry, like, God, where were you? And in the poem, it describes how God answered, during your worst times, I was carrying you. That speaks to me. God carries us sometimes. In the moments where we feel like we can't see him or feel him or we're not in his presence, sometimes he's carrying us, holding us, protecting us, nurturing us as we go through this journey in life. So, wherever you are, if you're in a place in this moment where you feel isolated, alone, abandoned, rejected, alienated against, criticized, gossiped about, bullied, to all my young children, all my adolescents, all my young people, bullying is horrible. Bullies are weak. In your moments where you're feeling bullied, and bullying is not just with children or adolescents or young adults. People bully in corporate, people bully in church, people bully in households. Bullies are weak. They bully people because they're weak. They see something in you and it intimidates them. Bullies are weak. Let me fix my necklace. It's 111. Something about the numbers with me, powerful, angelic numbers. Sorry to deviate, but I could see it. I had to fix it. That's the perfectionist in me, y'all. Just give me a minute. But bullies, bullies are just Bullies can be dealt with. If you ever hear me say there's an app for that, like an application, a software, a portal, an app for that means there's a solution to fix that. It might not always be pretty, but there's an app for bullies. So the journey, when you're at moments where you feel the most abandoned and you're looking around and there's no one physically in your presence, you're not alone. We're never alone. It may feel like it. It may sound like it. But we're never alone. God is with us. Always. The journey. During times of trial and suffering, we know God will carry us. And then I went a little bit further to say journey, path. And I got to put a biblical stance on it because that's who I am. And Psalm 77:19 speaks about your path led through the sea, your way through the mighty waters, though your footsteps were not seen. The journey. If you ever go to the beach and you're going to the ocean, you're on the beach and you're walking through the sand, if you look back, you can see your footsteps. This could preach. But when you step into that water and you're still walking on sand, but there's water on top of it, and you're walking in the water with the intention to get out and enjoy the waves and the water and the salt and the ocean, just being present in that moment, you can no longer see your footsteps. Does that mean you're not walking? Does that mean you're not standing in the ocean? Of course it doesn't. Sometimes the most impactful things in our life are occurring but can't be seen. That could preach. When I think of the journey and I think of my journey and I think of what God has put in my mind and my heart on this 2023 journey of liberty, I think about who I am. Why am I where I am in this season? Why do I make some of the decisions that I make, right? And you can ask yourself this question. I do a lot of self-evaluating. Someone said to me, Dee, don't make this all about you. It's not all about me, but I have to talk about what I know, which is me. I know me better than everybody because I'm so complex as a human being. I will show you what I want you to see. I'm a chameleon. I'm very good at that. I could shift at a moment's notice. I could be in a tuxedo and flip to some Timbs. I could be in a gown and flip to a robe. I could put on yoga pants and flip to a suit. That's who I am. There's not one person, maybe my children are the closest that know me, my true identity as me, because they live with me, they see me shift. They see the consistency of my shifting, my journey. That's me. Never let anybody tell you who you are. Whenever in my life I have somebody who calls me and says, you need to do this or you need to do that without asking me, I shut it down immediately. Because you don't even know what you're telling me without asking me to clarify things. So never let people direct your journey. You're going to seek counsel. You can go to trusted advisors, and there should be very few. If you got more than 3 advisors in your circle, something's wrong. It's too many opinions, it's too many perspectives, it's too much noise. Shift it, shut it down. The journey. So when I dug deep, and I'm getting at 10, but I'm gonna just go over a little bit, so bear with me, guys. I think of who I am. So my name is Benjamin. My maiden name is Benjamin. The Torah says Benjamin. In Hebrew, it's pronounced Benjamin. And I always like to take deep dives. What does my name mean? Who am I? So when I think of biblically Benjamin, right? So let's just level set for a second. I'm Christian, but the Torah is older than the Bible. Regardless to what we want to believe, there's more books to the Bible. There's more stories that are not told. And I believe I may correct myself, but it's the Torah, the Quran, and the Bible. But I may be wrong about the Quran and the Quran and the Bible. I have to fact check myself. I used to be on top of those points, but I haven't really studied that in a while. I read the Torah, I read the Quran, I read the Bible. The Torah is the oldest, it's the oldest book, right? And in the Torah, it talks about the tribe of Benjamin, one of the 12 tribes of Israel, descended from Benjamin, the youngest son of Jacob and Rachel. The tribe of Benjamin has characteristics that are known of courage. It speaks about in Judges how the tribe of Benjamin were taught to fight with their left hand so that they could be able to wrong foot their enemies. That's who I am. God gives me strategies on my journey so that I can deviate from things very easily, to shift. Sometimes people wonder, who are you? You have an accent. Where's your accent from? I'm American, U.S. born and raised, USA. God bless the USA. But culturally, I can shift because I've been acclimated in other environments. Through relationships, through travel, through people, I can shift. I can shift to patois. I can shift to Liberian English. I can shift to sound like a Belizean. I can shift to a little bit of Spanish. I can shift to certain dialects. I can shift. I understand. My ear can hear certain things. I can shift. So part of that is my core, being a Benjamin, an original Benjamin. My journey of courage, my journey of shifting, my journey of being able to fight, whether it's in the flesh or the spirit. And I'm not condoning violence. You have to follow where I'm going with this. My ability to shift is a part of my DNA, who I am. And I am, with a capital A-M, is who God says I am. Not who parents, children, spouses, relationships, employers, statistics. I am who God says I am, and I am going to be who He destined me to be. I have to follow my journey. So I want to encourage you guys, dig deep a little bit today. As you're working, as you're traveling, as you're driving, as you're doing your day-to-day chores, think a little bit deeper today and say, what is my journey? Why did I have to go through what I went through? Who am I? So many people are doing these DNA testing and things of that sort. I'm going to do it one day because I'm interested. But regardless of that, of my genetics, of my chromosomes, of who I am and who I came from and what region, I have an idea. But at the end of the day, it started with something. It started with God for me, and it's going to end with God for me. It doesn't mean I stay in a 15th heaven all day, because I don't. That's not realistic for my life. That's not who I am. I love music. I love culture. I love laughter. I love to talk. I like to talk smack. I like to talk slick. That's who I am. I'm not sitting in a 15th heaven. That's not real. That's not real. People who sit around and they sit in what is a 15th heaven, D? What I mean is sometimes people who are very religious, I'm just going to say it, have underlying mental health situations, underlying behavioral health situations, and they feel that if they speak in 30,000 tongues, it's going to be fixed. If they lay prostrate on an altar, it's going to be fixed. And yes, God can fix any and everything, but He also gave us strategies and people and colleagues and things of that sort. Look at Moses. Look who Moses was. Look at Moses' journey. Read up on Moses. You know, mother had to abandon him so he could be saved, raised, in the house of Egypt, ruler over Egypt, watched his people get beat, killed somebody, protecting people, had to run. He had to deal with a whole host of people, took his people out of bondage. Moses did some great things, and at the end of the day, they criticized him. Oh, at least we was with Pharaoh. We was being beat, but we were being fed. At least when we were in Egypt, they worked us like a dog, but at least we knew where we were sleeping. Moses went to the mountaintop, came down, hair white, knowledge, and they still had an issue with Moses. So think about it. I'm talking to myself right now. D, think about it. If they crucify Jesus, if they don't believe that God is who He is, if they criticize Moses, who was seeking their freedom and liberty and release, what about me? What about you? People will have problems with you not because of who you are, because what you speak, what you reflect, what you demonstrate, where you walk, it troubles their spirit because it makes them, one, convicted of their neglectful behavior. Two, it makes them recognize that, oh, maybe that's not the person I thought they were. And maybe some of the words I said about them in private behind their back were inaccurate. Maybe me sitting at the round table and gossiping about people was not really the truth. Your journey. Continue to push forth. Pray for resilience. Pray for stamina. I was praying this morning and I'm like, Lord, give me strength. Give me more motivation. Let me be strong because this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. I have to have endurance. I have to trust my breathing. I have to stretch. I have a friend who's important to me. Like, dude, you got to stretch. You got to stretch your body. You got to become agile. You got to become flexible so that you can do things when you're not stiff, when you're flexible. Your journey. I can lift weights all day long. My daughter, my youngest daughter, she's so good at sports medicine, and I decree and declare that she's going to be who she's going to be in that field. And she's like, Mom, when you're lifting so much weight, if you don't stretch properly, your muscles are going to tense up and you're going to start getting more cramps. That's why you're so sore. You have to stretch. You have to stretch. On this journey in life, you got to stretch. You got to stretch your mind. You got to stretch your vision. You got to stretch your hearing. You got to stretch your heart. You got to stretch your hands. You got to stretch your feet. You got to stretch so that you can become so flexible that when adversity comes, when suffering comes, you could be like the Matrix and do the dip. You know, you could be like the Matrix and shift and duck. Any good boxer will tell you, you got to learn how to duck because punches want to be thrown at you no matter what. But what do you do when it comes on this journey? What do you do? What do you do? So I encourage you today. I always want to leave on a positive, upbeat tone. I always want to smile because regardless of how heavy this gets and how intentional I am, and I told you about my eyes, they're going to shift when I'm serious and I'm really, really focused. The journey. And then I'm going to leave you with this. I said, what does Benjamin mean? What does that mean? What does that name mean? Benjamin is powerful. It's the son of the right hand. The son of the south. That explains a lot about me. The son of the south. The son of the right hand. The original tribe. That's who I am. That's who we are. We all came from one of the 12 tribes. Although your name may not be one of the 12 tribes because of life and how things moved and history and slavery, and we picked up names from our plantations and all of that stuff. And it's just not a black or white or brown thing. It's history. You know, we all started somewhere. Put the map together, you'll see. The journey. Guys, I gotta go. I think I'm getting my schedule better. I'm starting to realize what my good wake-up time is versus what I thought it was going to be. And it's making me more rejuvenated. I feel more lifted. I feel more alive. I feel more wet. I feel liquid. I feel fluid. I did an ice bath on my face this morning and it felt wonderful. Just putting my face in water and breathing and listening to my heartbeat is powerful. Try it. You got to be intentional about the things you do in your life so that you can be able to finish this race. There's going to be pitfalls, but you can finish. Have a great day. If nobody says they love you, I love you. The God in me loves you. The Christ in me loves you. The sister, the mother, the friend in me loves you. I love you because you're lovable. We're human beings. regardless of race, creed, religion, sexual preference, regardless of all of that, you are lovable. And we need to unite when necessary. We need to separate when necessary so that we can finish this race. Have a good day. Shout out to Miss Morales, my Mexican sister. I told Brittany, I said, Brittany, that baby is mine. That's my nephew. That's going to be my niece. Shout out to Brittany. She did a last minute edit for me on a previous video on a day off. And I just love you and I appreciate you for that. She is such a dynamic person. Young woman, young mother, young wife, young manager. So trustworthy, so loyal. Living la vida loca. Thank you, Mrs. Morales. I love you guys. Have a good day. I'm about to start my day. I hope you subscribe. Can you click subscribe? I'm trying to do something with this. I'm trying to take us somewhere. It's going to get heavy. So I need you to need me because I need you. Have a good day.